So, this happened. After what seemed like months of constant speculation and debate, the Oblivion Remaster is finally launched. We now have that classic 2006 game in a way we've never seen it before. Oblivion is my favorite Bethesda game, and one of my favorite games of all time, so I was foaming at the mouth at the rumors of a remake. I bought it the minute it dropped like the good Bethesda shill I am, and I'm hooked. I've spent some time with it over these past few days, and I've really been enjoying it. Let's take a deeper look and see what this remaster did and didn't pull off. The first thing most players will notice, and arguably the biggest change, are the visuals. To call it a night and day difference would be doing it a disservice. In a world where this is considered a remaster, this is way more of a remake than anything. This newfound graphical fidelity can be credited to the Unreal Engine 5, which is being ran on top of the Gamebryo engine and some type of sick video game engine rat king. Now if you watched my video on Stalker 2, you'll know that I have my fair share of issues with Unreal 5. There are problems we'll get into later, but you can't deny that the game is gorgeous. Textures, lighting, character models, all near perfect. It's crazy to play this game from my childhood looking this good. Walking through the streets of the Imperial City, or the trees of the Great Forest, is somehow just as I remember, while also making me spam my screenshot key every 2 seconds. Can we talk about how they made the creepy skinwalkers known as Oblivion NPCs actually resemble humans? They look great, while also being recognizable from the OG game. Except for the Adoran fan. Why the f*** does he look like that? What I appreciate most from the graphics aren't the fancy lighting effects, or 16K textures taking up all the room on my hard drive. It's the fact that for the most part, this still feels like Oblivion. Pretty fantasy RPGs are a dime a dozen nowadays, but Oblivion has such a unique aesthetic, and the remaster almost nails it. The only complaint I have is the color palette is a bit too dull for my liking. Oblivion is known for its bright and colorful world, so it's a bit of a shame that they dialed it back here. If you are like me though, there are already mods and reshades available to make it much more akin to the original. As far as the graphics are concerned, this is about as close to perfect as you can get. The graphics aren't the only thing they've changed for the better. There are a multitude of gameplay improvements that have been added as well. The change that probably most benefits the player is a new leveling system. Leveling in the original was pretty convoluted. Enemies always scaled to you, so they can annihilate you no matter your level. It just wasn't fun. We now have a leveling system that feels more fair. It's much more streamlined, but it still feels in the same vein as Oblivion. The UI and menus also got a huge revamp, making them easier to navigate. I've had night terrors that are more pleasant than the OG inventory screen, so any change here is a win in my book. What I appreciate here is though these menus are improved, they still keep the Oblivion aesthetic. I feel like they could have plugged in some generic UI screen here, but these actually look pretty spot on. This goes for the loading screens and lockpicking as well. As for the general gameplay, that remains pretty untouched, and I'm actually fine with that. Some animations can be a little stiff, sure, but combat actually aged pretty well in Oblivion. There's some real weight behind your attacks, and there's enough enemy variety to keep things fresh. You can now sprint, which is one of the biggest features that the original was missing. It seems like they tried to keep the gameplay as close to the OG as possible, while also adding some major quality of life improvements on the side, and honestly, that seems like the best way they could have done it. Oblivion is some of my favorite writing and quest design in gaming history, and I can happily say that it still holds true with the remake. Not only do we get every piece of content from the base game, but we also get its 2 expansions, Shivering Isles and Knights of the Nine. Shivering Isles especially is known for being one of the best DLC of the 2000s, and it's fully playable in all its remastered glory. Though the quests have remained the same, the new graphics make it feel much more dramatic. Set pieces like the Battle of Gavach have so much more weight to them now that it doesn't look like Captain Mateus' face is going to melt if he stands too close to the fire. The new coat of paint almost recontextualizes them and makes them bigger than they ever felt before. This remaster is going to introduce a whole new audience that may have only played Skyrim to Oblivion, and I really think they're going to be blown away. I mean, just look at the differences between the factions in the 2 games. Take the Dark Brotherhood questline for example. Skyrim's was fine, but Oblivion's was 100 times more creative. Now that it's updated for a modern audience, I think many fans' favorite game is going to change. Even though I've been loving my time with the game, this is a Bethesda game after all. Remember how I said that aside from a few quality of life changes, this was just Oblivion with a new coat of paint? With the good comes the broken. There's a noticeable level of jank in the game, much in the spirit of the OG. NPCs talking over each other, refusing to advance quest stages, and other weird stuff that makes you feel like you're surrounded by the class of 06's best. If these oddities were the only problems with the remaster, I'd say it was near flawless. However, I do have issues with the game, mainly revolving around the use of Unreal Engine 5. Much like other games that use UE5, I've had some pretty significant performance issues. I had next to no problem indoors, but whenever I went outside, I had constant stuttering and texture pop in. After playing games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which ran super smoothly, it's really disappointing. I can't help but wonder if this graphical fidelity was worth the performance issues. Not only that, but how's this going to affect the modding scene? The creation engine has its fair share of problems, sure, but what does this mean for the future of the series? I'm sure some of this will be patched out in the weeks to come, but some underlying problems are more than likely here to stay. Remaking a game as iconic as Oblivion is no easy task. Change too much, and you alienate the core fanbase. Yet, if you don't change enough, what's the point of a remake to begin with? Somehow though, they pulled it off, and gave us one of the best remakes in years. I haven't mentioned it up until this point, but I was pleasantly surprised that they priced it at $50. For a game that could have easily justified a $60 or even $70 price tag, I appreciate this discounted price. The team over at Bethesda have also been great towards the Sky Oblivion team, gifting the whole dev team free game keys. After what seems like a decade of mistake after mistake, it's good to see Bethesda back on top.
Who's laughing now?
As for the remake itself, I love it. Am I extremely biased? Of course I am. I played Oblivion back when I was a literal child, so seeing it like this is something special. I've sunk a borderline irresponsible amount of hours into it, and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. Despite my nostalgia glasses, I think even non-fans will enjoy Oblivion. At its core, it's just a very fun game with great lore and quest design. If you loved Skyrim but never got into Oblivion, or you're just looking for a new open world RPG to sink hundreds of hours into, the Oblivion Remake is just what you're looking for. What are your thoughts on the Oblivion Remake? Have you played it? And if so, what did you think of it? If you liked the video, liking and subscribing helps the channel out a lot. I post videos just like this every few weeks, so be sure to turn on the bell notification so you don't miss any. I think that's all for me. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.